Hi, John. How are you?
Well, I'm okay. I guess I'm okay. Like I'm safe and everything, but I'm so happy you were able to see me this week.
I
Because
know, I was-
really.
When I got your call, I thought, I said, let me look at my book. Did I mess something up? You know?
No, we normally see each other every other week, and I know that we
Mhm.
just saw each other last week, but I mean, it's one of those things you did say if I needed to see you, to call you, and I'm just so happy you were able to, like, I'm a little freaked out, so I'm very happy you were able to sort of see me and help me go through this, because,
So
I
talk
don't
to
know.
me. What happened? What freaked you out so much?
Well, I had this sort of unexpected thing happen, and we've been talking about a lot about like how I react to things based on, you know, what happened to me before with the sexual abuse and like the triggers and stuff from that, and we talked a lot about how I don't know, like I always thought I was coping and stuff with that well, and I had this thing happen. Well, all right, let me back it up a little bit, because you know I talk in circles and I kind of want to make a point. You know, I don't want to avoid it.
Do you want me to start where we left off and then you go from there, or what do you need to make you get where you want to be?
No, let's. You know what? I'll tell you as much as I can, and then maybe
Okay.
you can help me fill in the pieces of it.
Okay.
So you know how I've kind of been getting to know somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like we did all this work on me being out in the field and in the field, or me being
Tony, right? What's his name?
Yeah,
Tony?
yeah. So we're like hanging out, and I mean, I'm so bad at this that I don't know if things are getting serious, but I think it's going somewhere.
Okay.
Like we're spending all this time together.
How
and
often are you guys seeing each other?
a couple times a week, really.
Okay.
We're just sort of like, I don't know. The thing that I've been working on the most is to, aside from not appearing like a freak, you know, is the whole letting my guard down to relax thing. You know, I have all those issues with letting people in, like letting people get close, and I'm really trying. You know, like you meet somebody, and it's hard to meet somebody of quality, and you do, and you let your guard down, and you just get like it just. All right, so we went on this date, right?
Okay.
Great dinner, like went for this walk along the pier. It was super nice, romantic, and all of that. There was definitely a vibe going.
So you like Tony?
Yeah, and we were gonna just kind of go back to his place, have a drink or what have you. I don't know. It's I mean, you can fill in the gaps. I guess I don't need to be specific, but we were sitting.
Well, who's thought about going back to his place? Was it yours? Was it his?
I think it was just kind of like I don't know, maybe he brought it up, and
Okay.
it was kind of like I was okay with it.
Okay.
Like I felt okay
That's
with it.
good.
So
That's
I
progress.
said, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
proud of
said
you.
yes. I tried not to be nervous. I
Yeah.
tried not to talk myself out of it. I tried to be open to the idea. I felt kind of like really like apprehensive and really not strange, but like really nervous in through here.
So what did you do during that time?
I
Because
was
you were real
doing-
good, John, about
I know, and I was
identifying
doing
your
like
stuff.
I was trying to do like the discrete deep breathing,
Mhm.
and I was trying to do like the muscle tension thing.
Yeah.
And I was trying to keep myself grounded. I was telling myself a lot in my head, you know, like, this is okay, you're
Good.
safe, things are good, no worries at all, right? And I thought I was okay with it because, you know, we're both a little nervous, so it's okay. And I was able to say, you know, like, I'm just a little nervous, it's good.
So you were able to get to a point like, okay, I can move through and go
Right.
to his house.
So I thought.
Okay.
So we were having these drinks, like we're having, and I hadn't even had a lot, you know, like I had a few sips of some wine, because I'm not a big wine drinker, but, you know, every once in a while. It was cold, it wasn't too gross, it was okay.
Yeah.
And then I just had this urge, Crystal, like I made the biggest fool out of myself because I was legit up and split. Like we were sitting there, and then all of a sudden, like my whole head was just like shorting out, you
Let's
know?
freeze for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. So before he poured the wine,
Yeah.
well, before you even went into the apartment, you started feeling these feelings that
Yeah.
you've expressed in the past,
Yeah.
right? And then you kind of use some of your coping skills that you've been using
Yeah.
to help you feel like, I can do this. Let's get to this apartment. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
Okay. You get upstairs. Did you still have those feelings, or they still were kind of suppressed?
They were a little bit different feeling,
Well,
you know, because I
nervous
was like,
jitters.
I made it this far, so, all right,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, okay,
So then he poured you a glass of wine.
yeah,
And you guys took a little sips.
yeah.
Anything happened after the wine that led to that next step? Like I know you always keep on your book your trigger.
It was, you know what it was? It was like, we didn't even kiss or anything. It was like, you know how when somebody moves closer to you and moves closer to you, and it was like, all of a sudden there was somebody in my space, and how do I deal with that, and what do I do, and I just had to get out. It was like I was like being swallowed up, you know, and I had to bolt, and I felt stupid because now how do I call and say, like, sorry I split, kid, you know, but
Did you say goodbye? Did you just
I was
leave?
like, I gotta go, it's me, gotta go, like, and I don't even really remember how I was, and it was, I mean, I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, in a text, but I'm afraid I've kind of ruined it. But what I'm more concerned about is why. Like, I thought I was good on the stuff that we've been talking about with the feelings, and we've been talking about with coping and the etc. And then all of a sudden, and it's just disheartening because it makes me feel, you know, like you open up to somebody, or you try to open up to somebody, and when you do, you finally get there. Like, look what happens. So I either have a long way to go, or there's something, I don't get it. Like, why is this still happening to me? Why am I still... And I mean, now there's not just that, there's like the embarrassment, and it knocks at my confidence, and I just kind of feel like it's a setback. You know, I feel like defective in some ways.
Well, I don't want you to feel defective, but I recognize your feelings, and I have to tell you, first and foremost, you even taking this step is a big one, okay? Because you haven't been, and let's be honest here, I know we really don't like to talk too much about your past, but 13, 14 years ago, I mean, you really experienced a significant sexual abuse from someone that you knew that really created all these scars. Remember, we talked about all those different things.
Yeah.
And I know we explored different things, but for all these years, although you've made many friends and have been able to move on with your life, you've never really fully engaged in a relationship, an intimate relationship.
Yeah.
So where Tony's finally, you saw something in Tony that is like, wow, I want to explore and see where this goes. I don't want you to feel like you're defective or you took a step back, but you have to remember, although you've been in treatment for some time, and you've had breaks in between because you felt like you've gotten what you needed to in your life, I just think that you're going to start experiencing different parts of your past trauma that may trigger things. Why? Because
we can talk about that. I brought that thing.
Because I know when you met me the first time, you told me, Crystal, I was diagnosed with PTSD a long time ago because X, Y, and Z happened. And then you were in treatment for 4 years, and then you felt like you're in a great place. But during this time in between, you've never engaged in a romantic relationship, never wanted to explore that, and now you're coming to a point in your life where you are. And I was going to start perhaps bringing these things back up. So I'm happy that you brought your book with you. I'm happy that you wrote anything in it? Like, what did you write?
I mean, it's a little bit, I tried to, like we talked about, think about what happened and what sort of set me off. And there's still a big piece of time in the middle, like all the stuff that I told you about what did you call it? Antecedent behavior consequence. You said something about let me see, I got it written down right on the first page here. Yeah, you said ABC. the stuff that happened, the antecedent you said was the stuff that happened before it. The behavior was the thing that happened because of it, and the consequences, how I feel about it, and all that other stuff. So I was able to kind of get to some of that stuff, like we talked about, you know, the stuff that happened before and how I was feeling. But it's that piece in the middle that's super kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
It's that whole, once I became overwhelmed.
And I think those feelings are very natural, because you have to remember, your body is responding to a traumatic experience. So your body is not matching up with your feeling, right? You're feeling this, oh my goodness, I see where this is, these new person jitters, new love jitters, and then
I don't know about love,
but you know, something, right? Something that you haven't experienced or haven't allowed yourself to experience, right? But at the same time, your mind is saying, wait a minute, something is going to happen. Something is going to happen. I think that the key is trying to figure out a way to make you almost like trick your brain into thinking you're safe.
Yeah, and
that
something is going to happen. It's funny that you said something is going to happen, because that's kind of what flashed through my brain. I remember like feeling scared, and scared in a bad way, and I remember feeling for a second like confused, because I wasn't quite sure what was going on. It just got all mixed up. It was like flipping back and forth between two channels. It was like now, and then flipping the channel, and then all of a sudden it was back then.
So when you say flipping the channels, when whatever in that moment was going to happen or happened, in your mind, did you feel like, when you say flipping, are you talking about what happened to you 15 years ago? Like when that happened, or what? Elaborate a little bit more on what you mean.
I'm talking about, like, if I have a piece of paper, and I'm just going to use a piece of paper out of this notebook before we talk about that stuff, right? And I go like this, imagine I go like this, right? It's 2019, and all of a sudden these things are happening, and it just feels like I go, and all of a sudden, for a second, you know, it's 1989, 2019, and it gets and it's like there's two different versions of things happening at the same time, and I had to get out of there, because I don't even have the words for it. Like, imagine just being in two different places at once, and two different things going on, and it was bad, and then it was good, and then it was bad, and then it was good, and then it was bad, and then it was good, and then it was bad, and then it was good, but then this overlays this, and then it gets like mixed up, you know? So I'm never quite sure.
Are these the same? Do you feel like these are the same things you were experiencing when you initially started therapy, in terms of like your PTSD? Because I know for a long time.
I don't really know. I mean, probably, but I don't really know, because back when we started together, remember, I mean, I was a mess. I'm able to say that now. Like, I was a mess on a lot of things, and like I wasn't working, and I wasn't living my best life, and I was like not taking care of myself, and we've done so much work around that, and I feel like I'm in a much better place. So it's a little bit disturbing that this is happening, and it feels so alien, you know, like.
Well, I think you hit the nail right on the head when you say alien, just because this is a new experience. So now I think, and tell me if you think this is wrong, but this experience that you're feeling, although it feels so great with Tony, doesn't have to always remain with Tony, but with Tony, it is an alien feeling because when you experience this connection or that closeness with another person, it wasn't in a positive way.
Yeah.
So now maybe it's still hard for you to, as much as you're fighting to feel great about this wonderful experience you tentatively might have with this person, your past is holding you back because you're terrified of that moment. It's almost like, do you feel like you're reliving that moment?
That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I felt. And sometimes I guess it's easier just to go without, you know, but
then are you truly living?
I don't even know. I'm sitting here saying, I don't understand what happened, and I'm torn between not wanting to do it and not wanting to experience it, meaning like, it sounds, I can hear myself like we talked about. You told me that a lot of what's going on with this is about avoiding your feelings or trying to make it go away, and we talked a lot about that. And I don't want to avoid it, but it's obvious I'm not equipped or ready to deal with something like that, right?
Well, I think that you are equipped. You don't give yourself enough credit. I think because you're able today to recognize that you want to face things head on, but it's going to be work. It's going to tap into feelings that you have been avoiding for a long time. And although you've had great coping mechanisms in terms of breathing and really looking at the triangle of, you know, where you are cognitively, the thoughts behind it, the behaviors behind it,
and the feelings,
connecting all those different things. I think you do a great job in making sense of the situation. But how do we react and respond to them?
You know, I do a great job, and I'm thinking about all this. Like, I just get the sense that I've done all this really great work, like sterile. You know, like we've analyzed it together, you and me. But
it's almost like you separate yourself from your situation.
Yeah.
So you are almost trying to, you are very analytical to where you are, right?
Yeah.
And how do you get better, but without really including yourself in the equation? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're exactly right. How do I do it, but include my true self?
And without avoiding the inevitable. We're not going to know how things are going to be until we get there, right? I think whether it's Tony or it's someone else, I think it's important to how do we make, for example, Tony, how do we make it so that you feel safe while you explore where your relationship will go?
Well, I think I need to make a phone call first and say, this is what happened and here's what you need to know. And that's kind of a big step too, because ring ring, hi, I'm a freak. You know, I'm damaged.
Yeah, remember, everybody has baggage. Everybody has something.
Knock knock, here's my baggage. But I think it's important for people to understand. I think it's important for them to understand that this is why it's happened. But
I think it's important for you to understand too. I don't want to make you feel like every time you meet someone new, you have to say your story, because it's very personal to yourself.
No, but you're right in saying that I have to be accountable, right? I think there's some accountability for my actions. Don't you think so? As a logical person, like, imagine if somebody did that to you, like, not even my same situation, but imagine somebody just abruptly left your situation, like if your client or whatever just got up and was like, gotta split, you know, like, it's me, not you, like, peace out, see you later. I don't know you and your thoughts, and I'm not predicting your thoughts, but I would assume that you would be curious as to what happened, right?
What did I do?
Right.
What did I think?
Right.
I think those are all normal things. So I know today is Tuesday, right? I know you left me a few messages on Sunday. So I imagine, I don't know if it happened Sunday earlier in the day or Saturday?
Saturday it was.
But since then, have you talked to Tony at all? Or has he reached out to you?
Not really.
Not really means what?
I've been sort of avoiding the responsibility of it because I'm embarrassed by it. Like,
well, that's normal.
I'm embarrassed by it.
Did he reach out to you?
I mean, a couple times, and I've just been like.
What was his messages? What did they say? If you don't mind
Like,
asking?
are you okay? Can we talk? And I've just sort of been like, sure.
But you haven't followed
But
through.
I haven't followed through, no.
You know, John, I'm very proud of the person you've become thus far. And I know you can be very hard on yourself. But think about where you've gone. I know you're back here. And I know we see each other every other week. And it's not something where you love revisiting your past. But think about the steps you're taking in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Think about just even going the extent of engaging and just communicating. That was a big step with this person. Just reaching out to him and exploring where things were going to go. You know? When are you going to call him back?
Today, I think, after our session, I'll do it.
What are you going to tell him?
I'm gonna say I think we need to talk about what happened, and I think we should do it in a an impartial situation. I don't know the word for it, when you just go somewhere that's not connected to anything. Like, I'm not going to your place, him not coming to mine. Like, let's meet somewhere and just
You
talk.
love the park with your dogs. Why don't you meet at the park?
We could. It's a beautiful day out. And just say, let's talk. And I just need to be honest about what happened, and here's why it happened, and
What is your hopes in the future after this conversation? What do you hope it brings you?
honestly, a sense of normalcy, I guess, meaning like that I can say something directly to somebody that addresses what happened to me and how it impacts me without feeling ashamed. Like, not saying, oh my god, I'm a freak, and like less telling somebody I have like horns and a tail, and more like, this is why I reacted the way that I did, and it's connected to this, and being able to give that as a reason and not as an excuse. Do you know what I mean? And feeling good about it, and taking a chance, and really, my brain, I'm really good at reading people, except myself, obviously.
No, you're very good at reading yourself.
Really being able to say, like, I think it's just going to be a telltale sign as to whether or not that person's good for me or not, because depending on how they react, like, I can't control how another person's going to react.
Absolutely.
So I can say these things and have it go good or go bad.
But you're preparing yourself for
The
what
bad.
he's able to do, like in terms of accepting.
What do they say? Hope for the best, expect the worst. So just going in there and being vulnerable for a second and saying, this is what happened.
Now, I'm happy with that plan that you have going on. I'm going to be rooting for you and Tony. Now, really rooting for you. But I think let's talk back a little bit about what are we going to do when we get these feelings again, right?
I think
because
so.
I think listening to what you're saying and how you said that maybe an impartial place may ease some of your anxieties in terms of whatever the situation may lead to, right? Perhaps, what if you thought about before this person goes to your house or you go to their house, when you're thinking about just even the little holding of the hand or the brushing of the shoulder or the kiss on the cheek or the kiss on the mouth or the touch of a body, what if those things happen in an outdoor place? I'm not saying get yourself in trouble, but what I'm saying is starting small so maybe you won't feel entrapped. I don't know if you're feeling that way in his home, so it gives you enough time to think, wait a second, how am I feeling?
I think it has to be slow. I can't give you an answer for all of that because I don't know, but I think, like you said, there's got to be something I can do about that, right? You know, I can maybe, maybe we have to do something else, maybe, because what I was doing, the problem was is that it was just so unexpected and so all of a sudden and so overwhelming all of a sudden. So I don't really, it wasn't anything that I was prepared for or prepared against. Meaning, you know, we've done all this work like checking in on your feelings and deep breathing and recognizing your triggers, and it was like, you know, when these things come up and you're like when I was going in, you know, deep breathing and like, I'm gonna be okay and this is gonna pass and etc. and feeling good about it. That wasn't that. This was more like all of a sudden, like boom, there you are in the second, boom, just no warning, almost no. It was just like a nuclear bomb had blown up. There was no, you don't get a warning.
Yeah. And at the same time, it's almost like you don't get a warning with spontaneity in terms of what this person is feeling from you, what they're vibing from you, what the connection they're getting from you.
I don't want to have to like write an instruction manual.
No.
You know, like.
Why don't we do this? Remember a few weeks back when you came in because you were just so worried because you had like this anxiety attack is what you called it, right? You just said you couldn't breathe and you were just like, because Tony rang your doorbell, waited for you outside to come down, and then it was just like, oh my God, you felt
like I wanted to call in sick. Yeah.
Right? And then I remember you telling me you love the beach. And then I remember, because we were starting to do the breathing, but then we needed like more visual stuff, more visual. And you said, oh, I love the beach. And then we closed our eyes, and I remember you talking about the waves. And I remember you talking about the wind and just hearing the seagulls passing and how it made you feel so safe. What if when you start thinking about your safe place, you just close your eyes. Why don't we practice this? We practice going right back to that beach, and then I throw something in there just to see how you feel with that. Do you want to try?
Okay, but what happens if it goes wrong? Because I'm already nervous about it. So what happens if it goes wrong?
We stop.
Okay.
It's just something worth exploring, because I feel like you talk a lot about Tony to me in the past, and it feels like you really want to try to work through this. But how do you make him feel safe? How do you feel safe in his presence? So I don't know if maybe, let's try this. I want you to close your eyes. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Another deep breath, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Now I want you to envision the beautiful sun and the sun rays cascading off of the ocean. At the same time, you see some birds flying by, and then you see these waves just breaking through onto the sand, pulling in and taking out, pulling in and taking out. And then you have your feet in the sand, and you're playing with your toes in the sand, and the sand is just going all in between your toes, and feel the sun rays on your body while the wind is blowing through. You can hear it on your ears. You can hear it pass your body. And when you look down, you see your feet, and then you see someone else's feet. And sitting next to you is Tony. Tony's embracing the sun rays just like you. And the water is keeping the mood nice and calm. And you're just sitting next to each other, holding hands. Just holding hands. Recognizing that you're in this safe, calm place. And Tony's there to support you. The birds keep passing by. You look at each other. You look at the birds. Tony passes you a bag of bread. You start throwing the bread at the birds. You guys start laughing because the birds are bickering over whose bread is it. It's mine, it's mine. But you're smiling. And he's smiling. Those are the things I want you to start thinking about. Safety. Connecting.
I felt very, very nervous over the hand holding thing. It was a little unexpected, but I think that the distraction, taking the tension off the situation by throwing the bread to the birds took a lot of tension off the situation, and I think that I don't know, maybe I need to find a way to.
It's gonna take time.
Are those my expectations? Are those? I understand that everything means something, right? And we talked about these thoughts and these feelings and these behaviors, right? So if my feeling is nervous, right, I'm behaving more and more shut down.
But we need to learn, right, that it's okay to be nervous too. Because you have to remember, it's nerve-wracking meeting someone new, doing something new. You're creating all these new experiences and you're challenging your body and your mind in ways that you haven't in the past because you've avoided it for so long. So it's going to be different for you. You may be able to go with Tony one day to the beach and just hold hands. But maybe it's something that after meeting with Tony and talking with Tony, just exploring where he is in terms of his level of understanding. But these baby steps may have to be initiated from you. Because although he's initiated all these things for you, he's just putting the spark to the person that's been dormant for a long time of what you want, right? So you're saying to myself, oh my goodness, this is what he wants. He's putting that fire there. Let's go there. Let's see what we can do. What are you willing to do in doses? Just keeping an open mind.
I have to set a small goal, I think.
Yep.
Really. I don't know. I think that I think that's a great question to keep working on. Can I take a small break? Because I just need to step out for a minute and just get some air. It'll just be a couple of quick breaths.